Most people knows that Pyro Shows is here in our community. There's very few people that don't know that Pyro Shows exist here. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's not miscommunication, but a lot of assumption about what Pyro Shows does. So I want to clear up some of those assumptions right off the bat. One, we do not make fireworks. Okay, so don't worry, we're not mixing up fireworks and creating stuff anywhere downtown or over on Beach Street or out next to Midway Church. We do not make fireworks. We import everything that we use in our performances. A little bit of history of Pyro Shows. Everybody knows Langston Hill in this community. 1969, Langston Hill started Pyro Shows. He was a college student. I'm really proud to say that I was every bit of 1 year old. So I wasn't involved. People ask me a lot of times when we go to different places, were you there from the beginning? And I said, well, I was here for the beginning, but I was not there for the beginning. I was only one. 1969 he started. He literally started with a CJ5, and a guy got together and welded him some mortars together, and him and some of his college buddies and high school buddies found people that love to shoot fireworks, and they get paid a little bit of money, and they thought it was just something fun to do. In 1976, and I'm just going to give you the bullet points of Pyro Shows. 1976, Langston figured out, hey, there's something to this. I may actually be able to make money at this, because I think he had something like 13 or 16 shows. Don't quote me on that. And he thought, you know, maybe this can build into something. So since 1969, he's been doing that, building it. I come on in January of 2003. Most of you here probably know that Langston has a thing for airplanes. He had bought his first airplane. He called me on a Saturday in October of 2002, and he asked me to meet him at the airport to look at his airplane. And the first thought that went through my head is, why would I want to look at an airplane? When I walked up, he was not there. Him and Tom Steiner had the airplane, and they were flying around the airport. And Patty Clem was sitting there, his girlfriend, and she looked at me and she said, if you were smart, you would turn and go back through that gate and leave. So in 2003, I came to work for Pyro Shows. 2013, Langston and I, and Pyro Shows was one company. At one time it was called Langston E. Hill Enterprises, and then some of you may remember this, but he did Jeep races, and it was Big Creek something. Pyro Shows had several names before he landed on Pyro Shows. 2013, we purchased the largest firework company in the state of Texas. It was called Atlas Enterprises. We bought that in 2013, and Langston and I both were looking at each other and saying, why in the world do we need a firework company in Texas? It was a great opportunity. Most of you probably know Langston. Those of you who don't, Langston is a guy that wants to give everybody a chance. He will take a chance on anybody that is willing to work hard and take a chance as well. So we bought Atlas Enterprises, and he told me, he said, I'm not going to Texas. You're going to have to do it. So for the next 5 years, I worked 4 days a week. Every other week. I left on Monday morning, come back on Thursday night. Had me an apartment in Lake Worth, Texas, and I spent about 5 years developing that Pyro Shows of Texas. 2016, we bought Pyro Productions in Birmingham, Alabama. And 2021, coming out of COVID, we bought what was once known as East Coast Pyrotechnics. It's now Pyro Shows East Coast. Now, those are the major acquisitions that Pyro Shows has went through over the last several years. There were several smaller acquisitions that have gone on across the country that we kind of just absorbed into some of the other companies as we purchased the smaller mom and pop outfits. Pyro Shows now consists of 4 legitimate Inc. companies, S corporation companies. We call them the family of companies. It also consists of 2 land companies who purchase property in surrounding the business. We currently, these are some statistics that kind of blow my mind. When I came to Pyro Shows in January 2003, there were 8 of us. There were 5 of us that worked in the office, and there were 3 people that worked at the storage facility across the Midway Church on Old Jacksboro Pike, Jacksboro Highway. And we probably had about, at that time, we probably had about 85 or 100 good old Campbell Countyans. And when Pyro Shows went to shoot something or perform somewhere, we loaded all the boys up from Jacksboro, Carroll, and La Follette, and we took off and we went and produced these fireworks shows. One of the profound moments is the first time that we did a Super Bowl in 2005, and we spent about 10 days in Jacksonville, Florida. There was 20 some of us. I still got the picture. Most miserable week of my life. I'm never so glad to see something be open as that weekend. However, 2 things happened during that weekend. And those 2 things are, one, in order for a small town company in La Follette, Tennessee, to get that contract, we had to do a presentation in front of the Super Bowl committee that consisted of leaders in Jacksonville, Florida, and the NFL. And Lanston has always been very good, if you know him, about networking. Lanston never meets a stranger. He doesn't learn as much about the people he meets as Martha. If you all know Martha, Martha will know everybody in a room in just a few minutes. But networking, he had made contact and through his networking over the years with a guy out in California. And we literally went in as the only company in America that had the ability to literally show them a video of the city of Jacksonville with fireworks up and down the riverfront across 3 bridges and coming off the tops of 13 buildings. And when we made that presentation, there was no question about who was going to get the contract at that point, because nobody else had the technology. We didn't have the technology. One of Langston's friends had the technology. Another big milestone was, and most of you remember this, because in the early days we took a bus. For 15 years, Pyro Shows was the company that did the nation's capital show at the Washington Monument. We did that for about 15 years. Most companies, there's only 4 or 5 companies in America that are even invited to make a proposal or to bid on that particular show. And we were able to do it for 15 years. That gave a small company in Campbell County, Tennessee, credibility. That's what it gave us. From that day forward, we could walk into any town, any small town, any large town, anywhere in America, and when you say you're the company that does the nation's Independence Day celebration, you have instant credibility. Those are 2 events that are markers for us. Those you have markers that you kind of put in about how you get to the next step. Another event that I would consider a marker for Pyro Shows was competition. In 1998, Pyro Shows competed in a world competition, and we finished 2nd in Stockholm, Sweden. We've been in Taiwan since then, and we are currently being courted by in Montreal, Canada. Their expo they want us to participate in it next year. We've been out of the competition scene for quite a while because it just doesn't make financial sense. However, that's something that fireworks has kind of made a turn and is coming back. We did compete, our Texas office competed in one in Michigan back in September. So So those competitions kind of gave Pyro Shows, between the contracts and the competitions, they put Pyro Shows kind of on the map. I get asked all the time, what makes Pyro Shows different? I get asked about this within the industry, by customers, by people who are just curious about what we do. And I find that it's very, very simple. I noticed you all opened this morning in prayer. If you're from here, most of us have attended church since we were small children. And the Bible tells us to treat each other the way we want to be treated. And it tells us to love other people like Jesus loved us. Our philosophy at Pyro Shows is really simple. We have one motto. You do the next right thing. You do the next right thing. Whether you're talking about your employees, your customers, regulators, whatever that is. We have members of the Pyro Show staff that are on NFPA committees. That's the National Fire Protection Agency that writes all the code that fireworks follows. We have them on the APA committees. We just have a new influx that are about to go into the APA committees, which is the American Pyrotechnic Association. Pyro Shows is putting our influence nationally in the United States and beyond. And it all started right here. The reason we're able to be there is, in those places, is because we're trusted. Your mottos, is it the truth? Is it fair? Is it better for everyone? That's how we run our business. That's how Lanston has always run the business. That's how Pyro Shows was run. We take into consideration the customer, our employees. Some of our employees will disagree with you because we are known to work very long hours, and we will, you've heard those say it, we'll ride a good horse to death. Sometimes we do that. Where is Pyro Shows now? Pyro Shows to date this year, we have produced 2,714 shows across the United States. We have over 1,800 part-time employees. Those employees go from the Outer Banks of North Carolina all the way into New Mexico. We operate in 16 states. We do over 25 college and professional football teams every weekend. We have over 25 college and professional football teams every weekend. During the spring and the summer, we do over 25 college and professional baseball teams every week. This year, I don't have this number down. I'm sure Chris doesn't know it off the top of his head. This year, we are in a number of NCAA basketball arenas every single night that there's a game, men and women's. I know the University of South Carolina, University of Mississippi, Mississippi State, University of Tennessee, and UK are the ones that come to my head right off the bat. Vandy, let's not forget Vandy. Any Vandy grads? Okay. We do 6 soccer teams from February to October every year. We also do all of the work east of the Mississippi, well, actually from Texas east. We do all the work for the U.S. soccer team. That's the men and women's soccer team that travels international. Pyro Shows does all of those events. I had a phone call Monday morning as soon as I came in because, and the question was, did you see what the University of Georgia did? I said, yeah. And the next question out of the SEC commissioner's mouth was that you? And I said, yes. We get calls all the time here in La Follette, Tennessee, for people all over the country that are wanting us to come and perform where they are. We can't do that without the people here, the way we manage our business, the way we treat people. And I think that's doing the next right thing is the most important part of that. I noticed when I Googled you on the website, and I'll end with this, is y'all are a service organization. I knew that Rotary does a lot of things in the community. Pyro Shows, we have people on different boards. within the community, there's many people, Christy, my executive assistant, is on your on the chamber. I serve on the Campbell County Christian Academy Board. I also serve on the La Follette Medical Foundation Board here at La Follette. We have several people who serve on different boards. We try to stay as connected as we can. We are, next week, going to begin our float committee is going to start on that float because in La Follette, if it's a nighttime float, we're required to be in it, I think. One of Pyro Shows things that we do in the community all the time is the little light show down in, is that Freeman Park? Yes, Sergeant Freeman Park. And the electric company was here Friday and they put up some of the poles and Garrett's working on the design of that. Locally, and when I say locally, I'm talking about Campbell County. In Campbell County, to date, this year to today, we've done about $38,000 worth of donations, pyrotechnic effects. That doesn't include financial, that's service.